Now I met Alan Dershowitz, and he said the legal thing about 4 more years, and I said, Alan, I agree with you, so we can do it. Think about it.
Alan's here someplace. Where's Alan?
Alan is here. Oh, he had a flight. Alan is here. Think about it.
Here we have AIPAC mega donor Miriam Adelson and Trump both publicly discussing and floating the idea of running for a third term for Donald Trump. This is a blatant violation of the Constitution. The 22nd Amendment, which was ratified in 1951, states the following: no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. The text couldn't be clearer. This is a blatant violation of the Constitution, what Miriam and Trump are discussing. Mike, what do you make of this that we just heard there in that clip? Do we live in a bizarro world? Do they really see this as a legal possibility? What's going on here?
Unfortunately, I think we do live in a bizarro world because Trump 2028 has been on the table from the get-go. And let's not even forget January 6th, where he tried to stay in power already and literally pretty much incited a coup that thankfully failed, but that was attempt number one. You know, the second time around, I think he's going to take a lot more action to get what he wants out of it. And it's not even just what he wants, but it's also what the people who, what I like to call are the kingmakers, like Steve Bannon, who kind of push these people as puppets to accomplish an agenda. This is what they want. And you've got Project 2025. All of this stuff is all wrapped up into this because they want to finally drive in like full power and maintain it and keep it. And Trump is their guy. They know that he has this ability to sort of just like weave around scandals and not be, you know, he's effectively bulletproof politically. And they just march him forward. And it's to me, and hopefully every American, this is extremely concerning because this is full blown dictatorship. This is, and Trump even said, I'm going to be a dictator, you know, just for day one, blah, blah, blah. But it's over and over and over and over. We see a very common thread here where Trump will say something extreme, people backlash, then he'll say it again. And then the backlash is lower, then he'll say it again. And then it's lower, and then he'll say it again. And eventually it reaches a point where people just kind of brush it off and go like, Trump's being Trump. But then once things have been normalized, he acts. And so what I see from this, to kind of bring it all back, not only do you have Trump pushing this 2028 concept himself with his own merch, he's selling 2028 merch. He's actively out campaigning now and having these rallies. Not only is that happening, but now you've got actual big, powerful donors backing him and paying for it and funding it. And Trump even reached out to Alan Dershowitz for this. And Alan Dershowitz has a long history of being a shady lawyer who works for criminals and things like that, and direct ties with Jeffrey Epstein, of all people. So again, you've got this whole Jeffrey Epstein stuff. You've got this criminal leadership that's just pushing, you know, illegal things, and they're going to try to do it anyway. And Trump has also been talking about this idea of floating, similar to Zelensky being in power in Ukraine. Trump very famously said when he met with him, "Oh, if you are in a war, you can't have elections." And so Trump is trying to find rationale. Steve Bannon has already bragged about it in multiple interviews about how they're going to get a 2028 term from Trump. So yeah, Emmanuel, I think, you know, are we in a bizarro world where this is possible? Unfortunately, it seems that way. People want it to happen. Hopefully the law can stand up to it and keep it in check, though. But I don't know. It's not looking good.
Yeah, he had that dictator on day one comment. During COVID, he was full authoritarian, talking about how he has the full authority to do whatever he wants. He's been, complimenting and flirting with other authoritarian leaders around the world, like Kim Jong-un. He's been, talking about how he admires how people, kind of worship him and like obey him and stuff like that. He's obviously been a big admirer of Putin. The list goes on of dictators that Trump really likes. But funny enough, he rarely mentions like democratically elected leaders that he admires. It's kind of a strange thing there. And also, this is who Trump is. I mean, we've known this for a long time. He is power hungry, and honestly, I think a big part of you mentioned Steve Bannon and that whole tribe. I think they fear prison, and I think they know that the law is coming for them, and if they can't maintain and stay in power, that law and order is going to come down hard on their asses, and I think they're fearful of that, and for good reason. They've committed crimes. It's as simple as that. This is supposed to be the law and order administration and presidency, yet they seem to be the ones fleeing law and order, and all the stuff with deploying the National Guard and everything he's done in his second term, this first year alone, just oozes authoritarianism, oozes tyranny. And the way he pretends that the economy isn't in the absolute dumpster by calling it, the golden age and all this stuff, by hiding the job numbers, the abysmal loss of jobs that we've had recently, firing the Bureau of Labor Statistics director because the numbers made him look bad. This is all Kim Jong-un type North Korea, Pyongyang style authoritarianism. The way he has Caroline Leavitt lying on his behalf, just blatantly covering him left, right, and center. Covering up his medical stuff. They won't tell us what the bruises on his hand are about, what the MRI was about, why he's falling asleep, why he was like absent for like 6 days not too long ago. There's just so much cover up, so much just blatant. You can just tell that he wants to stay on to power, and he'll do virtually anything to do that. And as you mentioned, unfortunately, I think you're right. He would be willing to go to war just so he can stay in office. Even though historically this country has had times where we've been at war, where we still had elections, we still had the passing of the torch, and everything went as according to plan, as the Constitution outlines. Now, one other thing I want to mention also, the reason we have term limits is because Franklin D. Roosevelt was elected, to get us out of the Great Depression, the Democrat superstar president, and he won so decisively, and he governed this country so well that he was voted 4 times in a row to be reelected as president of the United States, to the point where Republicans are like, we'll never win again if this guy keeps getting elected. He's too popular. People like him too much. He's doing too much for the people. So that's when term limits were introduced. So it was the Republicans that brought term limits to the presidency because a Democrat was doing so well that they couldn't compete. And it's no secret why. FDR, he gave us unions, he gave us minimum wage, he gave us Social Security. He brought this country out of the Great Depression. He built the middle class of this country. He gave us the next century of prosperity, essentially, almost a century at this point, post World War II. Almost every great economic success of this country's past can be linked back to FDR's policies. That is why term limits exist. And now the Republicans are back again trying to undo the thing that they did almost 70 years ago.